that however hard it is, He's giving us sleep. Can you imagine if there is no sleep? In fact, if you don't sleep, after a while you start dying. Our Lord is creating, but He is describing Himself. He doesn't sleep. Sleep, our level of sleep, it is to rest. How scientists, they're saying you are processing whatever that is happening. If you don't process, this is going to blow up. So you need the body to rest so the mind can process. You need the body to stop being a tyrant, meaning the body is almost like dead, so other things can start working. For those ones that their bodies, they are not tyrants, that processing, they don't need sleep to do that. Understanding the processing to see this is, what is this meaning, what is that meaning, what happened to me today, what is the idea, how does this fit into 10 years, all those things, they don't need sleep to do that. Sleep is different for them, like our Shaykh, like our Grand Shaykh. Sleep is only to recharge the body a little bit, but their minds are there. Because what regular people like us doing, needing the sleep, they are doing when they are awake. Thinking, understanding, processing, and making the connection with Allah and His Prophet, ﷺ. Making their connection to that other world when they are awake. Making the connection to the powers of the awliya Allah. So that when they are sleeping, that time their spirit are completely free. When we sleep, our spirit is even more locked, because in the daytime you're not trying to make your spirit to be free. How nighttime your spirit is going to be free? For them, that time, as the two angels who visited the Holy Prophet ﷺ, one of them saying he is asleep, the other one says no. He looks like he's asleep, but his heart is awake. This is the whole point of sleeping. This is the whole point of us living in this world, why Allah is sending the prophets and the books. It is for us, for our hearts to be awake. For some, their hearts can only be awake when they're sleeping. Where are we? We are following the beloveds of Allah, that their hearts are awake even when their eyes are closed. Awake to what? Awake to the lie and the falsehood of this dunya. Awake to that, not drunk thinking that this world, it is beloved. Understanding that this world is a fitna. And they are awake to taste what those other worlds are like. To be in the presence of their Lord. Now when they look with the nur of Allah. When they speak with Allah's truth. And when they act for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are not there even for themselves so that they reach to higher and higher stations. They are there for the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. They are there for us, to pull us out from the mess that we are in. How are we going to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now for the guidance that He's sending us? Guidance in what? A book. Never a book comes without a teacher. A teacher may come without a book. The teacher may come without a book. The teacher may say, I don't have a book, but I'm teaching from this other book, from this other book, from this other book. It's okay, but there's no such thing as a book sent without a teacher. So this is the month of the walking Quran, month of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Find in this month gratefulness to Allah for sending us that Prophet. But how are you going to send gratefulness just to say thank you? The man who is more thirsty is the one who's going to be able to understand the value of the water. Yes? If you're not thirsty, they give you water, it's nothing. If you're dying from thirst, that glass of water is life. It's not a nothing, it's life. And it is sweeter than sherbet. But the man understands that he is in need of that water. How are we understanding that we are in need of that Prophet? Not just to praise the Prophet ﷺ. Not just to say you're the most beloved one, Allah is praising you, you have so many miracles, and you're the greatest one. For us. How are we in need of that Prophet? How are we going to understand if we're in need of that Prophet or not? How thirsty are we? What I mean by thirsty in this way? One of the greatest titles of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, in fact, his, let us say, first job on the day of Qiyamah, on the day of resurrection, on Judgment Day, is to do what? Shafaat. It is to intercede for us, to ask Allah, power is given to Him, to say, save my nation. Although what they did to themselves, it is enough for them to be put into the hellfire. But save them. And Allah, because of His love for that Prophet, ﷺ, is going to grant him. So how are we going to be grateful to that Holy Prophet ﷺ if we don't understand that right now, not on Judgment Day, right now we need his intercession? But his intercession, as he says, it is only to those in my nation who have committed the great sins. Isn't that what he said? Majority are saying, I don't make great sin. That's why in the 20th century, 21st century, majority are also saying, I don't need his intercession. I don't believe in the intercession of the Prophet. I don't make great sin. If people believe that they have made a sin, a wrong thing, and in the eyes of Allah it is a great one, even if it means running away from your work, your job, then they are going to make that tasbih of Hazrat Yunus, that prophet who did not do anything wrong, but he just took a break from his people a little bit. But he says, La ilaha illa anta subhana in kuntu minaz zalimin. Glory be to you. I am one of the people who oppress myself. We are in tariqat. If we are not understanding and believing that we are committing the biggest sins, if we don't believe that, how are we going to ask for the intercession of the Prophet? How are you going to ask? If you don't believe in the intercession of the Prophet, how are you going to be grateful and thankful to Allah? You're not thirsty. You're not dying from thirst. Are you dying from the burdens? Are you dying from your gunah? Are you crushing under that? Look at Sahabe Kiram. Look at the awliya Allah. Look at the prophets. The closest and most beloved ones to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at the Padishahs, the Ottoman Padishahs. How they are begging, writing love letters to the Prophet and saying, I've done nothing good in my life. I've done all the wrong things, all the bad things. If we don't feel that we are crushing under the weight of our own heaviness, we're not going to be grateful to the Prophet ﷺ. Because we're not thirsty. If we're not thirsty, why we need water? You can look at that water and say, oh, nice water, clean water, best water in the world, best water, but you have no taste for the water. Do you understand? You can sing about that water, you can dance about that water, but there's no connection between you and the water because you don't need it. If we are feeling the burden of our own wrong things, intentions and actions, then that time you're not going to wait till Rabiul Awal. You're not going to wait until Mawlid. You're not going to wait until the month of the Prophet ﷺ to thank Allah for sending him. You're not. Which is why in the Naksibendi order, before you begin anything and you end anything, even reciting Fatiha to Sharif, you have to recite the Durud Sharif. You have to recite the Salawat Sharif before and after. Otherwise, it is not going to be accepted. You can send your mail, but if you don't have the express chop on it, it may even get lost somewhere. If it doesn't have a stamp, it may get lost somewhere. But if you say, I need this, and I'm putting it under express, under tracking, under this and that, it will never get lost. Salawat Sharif. When you say, Ya Rabi, you love that Prophet, and you're saying, you and your angels, you send the highest blessings to him, and you're saying to us, oh, you who believe, send also the highest blessings to him, then I'm sending the highest blessings to him, as you are doing, and for his sake, in this life, and in all our lives, for his sake. We need his blessings, and we need his intercession, we need his help. Then that protection of our life, of our actions, of our death will be on us. Even if we are filled from the toe to the top with wrong actions. That is our Prophet ﷺ. What a mercy he is. But for those who don't believe that they've done anything wrong, for those who don't believe they're crushing under the weight of their wrong actions and intentions, For those who are flying and thinking they're high level, so many in that way, they start off good, but their end is very bad. May Allah always make us to be under the feet of our Shaykh, inshallah. Our knowledge of Allah, our knowledge of the Prophet ﷺ, our knowledge of Islam, our knowledge of Haqq, it is through our Shaykh. Before that, we knew nothing or wrong things. And we're asking for his intercession. May Allah forgive me and bless you. May Allah raise his station. Al-Fatiha. Amin. Assalamu alaikum.